Welcome to Phil Phails. My name is Phillip Jones, and today I am joined by Katie Raver. You can wave to everybody. They're in all these cameras.
Aw.
She is an NLP master trainer. She's an adventurous heart and a student of Tom Best.
Can I ask you some questions now?
Heck yeah.
Okay, great. So let's check in with this ability of yours. Do you want to still call it rebounding? You also mentioned transition or resilience or maybe something else.
Yeah, I don't know. We've talked about it for a minute now.
Can you choose a particularly good example of when you did this?
Well, I think, I don't know maybe being with uncertainty.
Okay, great.
And the reason I say that is because the last time I got laid off from my job before I started all this, I got laid off from my job. I'd done software for 10 years and, taught myself how to do software and work my way up by working at any job I could get. And then at the end of that, really realizing through looking inward at my family, my daughters, and like what was going on, that it didn't feel good to me. And finding this platform to start to contribute to the world in a different way and putting all of my energy and all of my, passion and excitement and time into it. So, yeah, maybe that's a better way to look at it.
Being with uncertainty.
Yeah, because I'm not on another lily pad yet.
Okay.
It's like, you're a frog and you're jumping in, like there's some bit of like blind faith that if I pour my heart and soul into something, if I follow my passion, if I do it with exuberance, if I do all the things, there'll be a lily pad there. I'm kind of jumping blindly, like a blind frog jumping from one lily pad to the next.
Okay.
So being with that uncertainty.
So can you take me into a moment of that whole process of being laid off and realizing, looking inward and really feeling that that software wasn't the right thing for you, for your daughters, all that. Can you take me into a particular moment of that you think is especially about being with uncertainty?
A moment of it. For some reason, what came up for me was, so my daughters are turning, they're 12 and 16. And I was feeling a lot of overwhelm as a parent, as a single parent, and not really knowing how to be with the wild swings of emotions in the house. My older daughter had started menstruating, and my younger daughter, she had just started. So I had two children that were being flooded with emotions, and I realized that I really didn't have the tools to stay grounded through that. And when I would go to great overwhelm, I would parent from a place of the historic trauma that I experienced as a kid, and I didn't think it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
Okay.
And so then I started looking at my whole life of like, what are the choices I'm making? Am I supporting myself in every area of my life? Am I following my passion and my aliveness with my work, my profession, right livelihood? In Buddhism, they call it right livelihood. Am I living a mission that I'm excited about? I just started to look at every aspect of my life in order to support what felt like a big movement for me that needed to occur, to be able to parent and show up for them in a positive way and hold space for the big emotions that occur in the house.
Okay.
Teenage girls.
Okay. Okay. So when you're a specific example of holding space with big emotions, is there one of those that you feel comfortable working with?
An example, like when it
Yeah.
happened? Oh, when
And when you were you were successfully being with uncertainty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think my younger daughter, she's got ADHD like I do.
Mm.
And I've learned a lot over the last, year or so. I've changed the way I've responded.
Mm.
Sometimes it seems like she's making choices designed to escalate the situation. Like it'd be an example of that would be, I'd take away something as a natural consequence for something that she had done. Oh, here's the natural consequence. I shared with you beforehand that this would happen
Mm.
if this happens, and I would do it. And then she would escalate in a lot of really exciting ways, whether it's cussing at me,
Mm-hmm.
directly, and telling me
Mm.
F you,
Mm.
whether it's like going into my room and saying, I'm going to go look all throughout this room and find that thing and take it back.
Mm.
And there was for me, I think, settling in and just saying, like, I'm not going to physically stop you from
Mm.
doing what you're going to do.
Mm.
I'm going to be here with you. I'm going to sit here in the room. And I would just like start cleaning my room and
Mm.
just be in the room. I'd ask her to leave. I'd ask her, not to do that.
Mm.
But, I think earlier I would physically stop her or
Mm.
physically take her phone
Mm.
or do things that I think were
Mm.
aggressive
Mm-hmm.
instead of I'm finding ways where I don't have to do that,
Mm.
but I can provide a natural consequence.
Mm-hmm.
And as she escalates, maybe de-escalate myself and be with her excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I heard several things like really settling in and being with her in whatever she's having. And you mentioned de-escalating yourself while she escalates. And there's something about being with that seems
Yeah.
really significant. So when you normally go about being with her in those moments, how do you do that?
Normally,
Yeah.
it's changed so much.
Okay. Well, what's a version that you're happy with?
I think it's being calm,
Mm-hmm.
feeling loving, feeling compassionate and empathetic for her,
Okay.
allowing myself to feel, putting myself in her shoes. I had a challenging childhood, and I could imagine I would behave in similar ways that she would behave.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of wanting autonomy and independence and power and control over her world,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and having, things taken away or things dictated to her that she didn't want to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so having that empathy or compassion, and, if there's some kind of consequence, having it be
Mm.
lovingly provided in the same way that, we talked about the rebound, that's some way of changing or setting the boundaries and expectations in a loving way.
Mm-hmm. Great. Great. Yeah, I think that that's an amazing ability, being able to be loving and compassionate while your kid is having a big reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and joining them in the experience as far as being with them
Yeah.
in that. Yeah. What do you do when that isn't working? When you can't be calm or compassionate in those moments?
Now,
Yeah.
more recently,
Yeah.
um, probably feel overwhelmed. So what
Okay.
does overwhelm look like for me is probably the
Yeah.
question. Um,
And you feel overwhelmed, and then what do you do?
yeah, the coping strategies. How do I cope
Yeah.
with that overwhelm?
Yeah.
Probably like breathing.
Okay.
The positive ones. I have both.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a human of 2024, so maybe go and scroll on the internet, distract myself.
Okay.
That
Okay.
happens.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't think that's the best way to do it, but
Okay.
I have done that.
Okay.
I think when I'm when I have clear sight and support myself in the way that's probably the best, it's probably breathing,
Okay.
taking space.
Okay.
Um, how can I support myself through overwhelm? Yeah, tell myself stories or like try
Mm.
to like reframe my experience in those moments in positive ways.
Mm. Great.
These aren't always present for me because sometimes
Yeah.
overwhelm is a real distorted place to be.
Oh, yeah. You can't even remember to breathe
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
or I
Sometimes
feel
you
like
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or sometimes in overwhelm I feel like I have to have resolution
Yeah.
and I can't take space.
Yeah.
And the desperation around resolution is an
Mm.
escalatory act in and
Mhm.
of itself.
Right on. Yeah.
Instead of saying, "Oh, this taking space, letting
Mm.
things dissipate or die down."
Mhm.
I think about a cave diver,
Mm.
and when they get excited, they can flail and move their body, and it puts a bunch of silt up, and the whole cave can be filled with this cloud, and they can't see anything.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think that's the same with
Mm.
can be with overwhelm and that excitement.
Mm. Mhm. Right on. Yeah. Great metaphor. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to ask this question. You've mentioned already some emotions. So when you're successfully holding space, and being with her in those uncertain moments, what's the background emotion when it's going well for you?
Dang, that's a tough one. I think whenever these things happen, I feel a lot of sadness.
Okay.
I feel a lot of guilt and
Mm.
shame
Mm-hmm.
that there's these stories I tell myself that if I was being a good parent, she
Mm.
wouldn't be in this situation.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Like I would be able to Aikido,
Yeah.
to keto all these moments and
Yeah.
redirect or
Yeah.
and we wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
It's
even
that.
when it goes well, I feel like I'm at fault
Mm-hmm.
for it getting to where it got.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that if only I could or if only I would have thinking we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier. Yeah. When you're able to stay calm, you had mentioned love and compassion.
Hmm.
Are those there sometimes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I'm working on.
Yeah.
Having that be there more and more
Nice.
self-compassion,
Yeah.
self-love, and also compassion for
Yeah.
my daughters.
When you feel that kind of compassion, whereabouts is it in or around your body?
On my chest, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And does it have a size or a shape there?
Um, I mean, it's probably around my heart.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
around your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are there other qualities like temperature or color? It's just as you tap into
It
it,
seems red. I
it
don't know.
seems
For some
red.
reason, it's like a heart.
Okay.
Like
Awesome.
it is a heart.
Okay.
So like it's
Cool.
either pink or red or some kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And so as you continue to
And it's warm. Yeah.
nice, it's warm.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Is there any movement there?
As I think about it now,
Yeah. Or as you go into it now?
it's still there. It doesn't flutter or anything.
And it's still.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pink or red. It's like the heart. It's warm. Is there anything else about all that? And compassion?
I notice the change in your voice has me settle.
Mm.
It's fuzzy around the edges.
Mm. And it's fuzzy around the edges.
Maybe it's this invitation to take my awareness into my body
Hmm.
and less into my mind. This
Hmm.
being there in my chest has a quality to it of softening,
Hmm.
or I feel softened.
Hmm. And you feel softened.
Hmm.
Hmm. Is there anything else about being in your chest and that kind of compassion, and pink or red and warm and fuzzy around the edges.
Yeah, there's like I just noticed I shimmy there's a playfulness somewhere back there behind it all.
And there's a playfulness.
Seems like when I'm in that
Uh,
space, it's okay to play.
Oh, nice. And it's back there. Uh,
Back behind the heart, back
okay.
behind this.
And-
I shimmied my shoulders. I'm almost an investigator going like, what does that mean? I think it means there's like a dog that wags its tail at some point.
okay, nice. And whereabouts back there is that playfulness?
It's behind that
Okay.
heart center.
Okay,
It's
great.
behind that.
And is there a size or a shape to playfulness?
No, it's
Okay.
expansive.
It's expansive.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And the shimmy of your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Go dog wagon. Okay. And is there anything else about all that compassion and playfulness?
Anything else about it? Yeah, happiness. There's a happiness to it.
Okay. And happiness. Nice. Great. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for that. Okay. So when there's not that compassion and playfulness and happiness, what triggers you to let you know that that isn't engaged?
I'm probably trying to
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to think about stuff or find a
Yeah.
plan or
And how can you tell when you're trying to think about things?
when oh, what's happening is I'm relying on control or like obedience or some
Mm.
kind of compliance in order to know that I'm okay
Okay.
because I
Okay.
feel out of control.
Okay.
And when that stuff is happening, I'm
Mm.
not engaged with
Mm.
the love and the compassion. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, I just need to know that I'm okay, that I can
Mhm.
control the situation
Mhm.
and the system the information that lets me know that is like compliance.
Mhm.
Like people doing what I'm telling them to do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it.
And I got a little Buddha.
Yeah.
My daughter's a little Buddha. She's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
teach me.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, she's inviting you over and over to move into the space of the heart,
yeah.
to the compassion, to the playfulness,
Yeah.
happiness.
Because I think that probably is a remedy
Yeah.
for her
Okay. Okay.
and for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can be really logical. I can be in my head a
Mhm.
lot
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
not in my heart and not in my body
Mhm.
and miss things, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about being with uncertainty, holding space, and this compassion and playfulness and happiness. What's that's like what? That compassion and playfulness and happiness. What's a metaphor for that?
A metaphor for that would be a metaphor. It seems like it's love and being with. It's what would be a metaphor for that? I don't know. You wouldn't be angry at a wounded bird.
Yeah.
You would
Yeah. Yeah.
love it and you would want to
Yeah.
heal it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I see the expressions as
Mm.
not that.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's helpful to think of, oh,
Mm.
this person's experiencing trauma. They're wounded right now
Yeah.
and they need love. The remedy for that is love and compassion, not more control and obedience, not more.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
probably a time and place for control and not control, but time and place for order,
Yeah.
like the yin and yang.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not it.
That's probably not the time and place for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Might not even be able to exist there in its truest form.
Yeah.
Something else is happening. It's like a copy of that. It's like a inadequate copy.
Say more about that.
Like real obedience can't occur if I am if I don't have control. Like, or that kind of structure or discipline or form.
And obedience probably occurs in a safe environment.
Yeah.
Where
Yes.
you feel trusting of the person that you're
Yeah.
giving obedience to.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah.
not going to hurt me.
Yeah.
I trust them. I'm going to follow their lead.
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Right.
do what this person that's scaring me says to do.
Right. And that's a survival technique.
Yeah.
So
fight, flight,
Fawn.
fawn, freeze.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if this kind of compassion and the playfulness and happiness, if that's an answer, what's the question?
If that's the answer, what's the question? Question. How do you support yourself and the people in your life through challenging times?
Okay. Okay. How do you support yourself and the people in your life through challenging times?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Okay, last question. So it's really common after I ask these kinds of questions that someone will text me later and say, I forgot this super important thing about how I do compassion and playfulness or space holding with my daughter or uncertainty, whatever.
Yeah.
So imagine that I'm driving away and you're like, oh yeah, there's one more thing.
There's one more thing.
Anything come to mind?
That's funny. All this stuff is so new,
Yeah.
It's you're almost seeing it shape.
Yes.
It's been shaping over the last, I've been doing this for a year, and this all happened around the same time. The challenges with my daughter and the challenges with work and the challenges, just all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm incomplete. I'm figuring it out. I'm in the boat, crossing the river. And I don't know what'll arrive on the other shore, but I think it'll be a lot better.
Yeah. Okay.
Than what left.
Okay. Okay. And it's all really new.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
It's new.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are some NLP modeling questions.
Yeah.
And as you watch this back later, you may notice things about your model of compassion and playfulness that you find helpful and that you want to do more of. And hopefully you have a little appreciation for yourself in what you're trying to do and what a new way you're working with your daughters.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's a way that you've worked with yourself a long time. Or you've been developing these tools for dealing with uncertainty for a long time.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the underpinnings of it, or
sure?
How?
Yeah. We can
work a little.
We can shift from this.
Yeah. To a meta awareness, if you will.
For a meta awareness. So I learned these questions from Mike Bown. He's an amazing NLP practitioner, does not describe his skills, but he has those too. He's a modeler, and I learned modeling from him in this way. So once upon a time, when people wanted to model somebody in NLP, they'd go live with them and copy everything about them. So like Stephen Gilligan, he went and hung out with Milton Erickson, and wore purple robes and had a cracky voice, and
he just did all
of it. And that's really fun. I mean, like there's some amazing benefits from that.
The
And
Wizard of the Desert.
the Wizard of the Desert. Yeah.
Have you seen that documentary?
It's been a long, long
But you have
time.
seen it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my mom, I grew up on uh, with Erickson's voice in the house all the
Really?
time. Well, because she would listen to his recordings of him.
Right?
Yeah, and tapes and stuff. Um, so then David Gordon and Graham Dawes released a book that was a shorter form of modeling, where you could really get into somebody's worldview, not just by watching them from the outside, but like by a line of questioning that was more efficient, where you could get to the heart of their ability more quickly. And so Tom Bown and his colleague Tom Carroll, Mike Bown and his colleague Tom Carroll, they took that even further and created a short form that can be done in 30 minutes to an hour and a half. There's more to it that we didn't do.
Yeah.
But it provides an interesting model of a small, like a sub ability. And I think it's really cool and useful. And it's one of my favorite tools in NLP. And I could ask those questions of every single person in Austin. I could find an ability that they're good at and drill into that and learn about their own excellence in their own life. And I love that because it allows us to see the beautiful humanity of each other. Yeah.
What did you learn from me in that time?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the anecdote of dealing with a kid who's overwhelmed and escalating, that the anecdote is compassion and playfulness, rings true and sounds like a really amazing thing to be able to do. So, I mean, I have like awe for that.
Yeah.
For being able to have compassion and playfulness in moments when somebody else that you really care about is having a different experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I should find somebody to model that from.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm working
I
on
know
it,
this
but
guy named
someone
Phil.
who's really great at it. Someone who does it every time.
Well, as you watch this back, you might learn more about how you do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes just talking about this makes it easier to do
Yeah.
for yourself.
Yeah.
Like having awareness of the structure of it and the sensation qualities. And also noticing the times when it's easy and that kind of thing. So
Yeah. The things I noticed in that practice or exercise was at a certain point I closed my eyes,
Yep.
took my awareness in my body, and there's this way of tying this to multiple different things.
Yeah.
To feelings, to sense perceptions, to color. We use multiple different things to kind of I think possibly of giving different pathways to this experience.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a color. What you could even put like what does it smell like? Like
Yeah.
making it a real 3D, if you will, sensation. Which makes it bigger or more accessible.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could even practice with it. I don't know if you use the term in your NLP classes, future pacing, but that's a way of rehearsing for the future once you have awareness of a pattern that you want to do over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's a really beautiful pattern. It's not like a bummer to practice. But yeah, we could practice it right now if you like.
Future pacing?
Future pacing, yeah. It's just practicing for the future.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Let's future pace.
Okay, so let's just practice that sense first. So just, if you want, you can close your eyes and go inward and notice what it's like when you put your attention in the region of the heart with that compassion. And just notice if it's, helpful to see the pink or the red and the fuzzy edges. Feel the warmth. And that there's a stillness there. And just allow yourself to feel that for 3 breaths. Great. And now you can just notice behind that the playfulness
Mm-hmm.
and stay with that whole thing if you can,
Yeah.
the compassion and the playfulness. And just allow that sensation to
That
be
one feels
there.
like a shimmy.
Yeah, it does. It has a shimmy. It's
It's got
great.
like a little, like a handshake to that one.
Yeah, great.
It feels good.
Okay, great. And now come back here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and kind of like shake that off.
Okay.
Choose a time that will be likely to happen in the next week or month
Mm-hmm.
when your daughter might have a response. And
Yeah.
I don't even have to know about it, but choose a specific time.
Mm-hmm.
You got one in
Yeah,
mind?
got one.
Okay, great. So in your mind's eye, see that she's clearly starting to have, and maybe hear that she's clearly starting to have one of those escalation excitement things.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately take a breath and allow that sensation of compassion now within the chest. And yeah, and see the red or the pink. Good. And that inward looking
Yeah.
begins with that. Nice. And the playfulness is already starting there.
Yeah.
Great, great. And just let that persist and notice when you stay with that compassion and playfulness, how it changes your outward behavior with her.
Mm.
And maybe it changes who knows what it's doing with her, but notice it changes your outward behavior with her.
Yeah.
Your sense of the whole thing. Great, great. Nice. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. How was that?
Yeah. Giving me, we're practicing now in a comfortable environment, something that later on I might be able to trigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sensation, that way of being, that
Yeah.
thing that Tom Best had with you sitting next to you, that
Yeah.
because that aura, that vibe has an impact on the environment.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, shimmy
Yeah.
my arms at my daughter's, it'll be a little different
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
if I'm,
Yeah. Yeah. And the things we used to think of as problems or this external thing that's happening that I don't like actually becomes the reminder to move to compassion and playfulness.
Yes.
And that to me, that's very good NLP. That's the programming part of where I'm bothering to rehearse the most important moments of my life, bothering to rehearse these positive states of being so that I can be more myself and help others more. So let's practice it one more time.
Okay.
So choose a different time that's likely to happen, and you might just be guessing.
Yeah, no, I'm not guessing. It'll be a
Okay.
time when I tell her it's time to get off of her phone for a little bit.
Okay.
These kids these days,
Kids these
they do
days.
not want to get off their phone, y'all.
Oh man.
You guys may be watching this on. So get off of it after you watch this.
Okay. So go into one of those times and notice seeing and hearing at the very beginning, the first sign that there might be some excitement, escalation from her. Great.
Mm-hmm.
And just go right into that inward and compassion. Great. And the red and pink, soft edges. Yeah. And the playfulness is already showing up. Nice. And just let that persist. And notice that the more you have that, the more it changes your behavior in that future moment with your daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just let that play forward to the end of the movie, noticing how things are different for you at the end.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. And maybe you have some practices you do every day. I don't know. Like I always drink coffee. I'm almost always in nature in the morning. If you wanted to, you could do this little visualization.
As a practice every morning.
Yeah.
Part of a morning routine.
Yeah, exactly. You could just link it to one of the other things you do.
Because then what we're doing is we're anchoring.
Yes, we're anchoring. Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. NLP word. Yeah.
Yeah. And NLP word for anchoring means like, so you could probably explain it more than I will, but I'll give my best and you can fill in the places that I miss. But anchoring is like, I've got this experience with my daughter, these challenging moments, and now I'm anchoring those challenging moments or even the precursors to them. The
Yes.
very beginning of them
Yes.
to a state.
Yes.
A
Yes.
state of mind, a state of body, my ideal state.
Yeah.
And so now if we anchor these two, when that happens in the present, when I
Yeah.
start to see this, I can then
Yeah.
have that state of compassion, that state of love, that state of playfulness as a
Yes.
resource
Yes.
to meet the experience differently in an ideal way.
Yes. And the reason we practice is we'd really like that to happen fairly automatically,
Mm-hmm.
because in the moment, we're not necessarily thinking ourselves through what we want to do. In the moment, we're just being.
Yeah.
So hopefully when those beginning signs start to happen, they're linked to what you really would like to have happen within you.
Kind of
Yeah.
like karate,
Yeah.
where it's muscle memory.
Yes.
Right.
You shoot the baskets when you do the free throws in your mind. You always make the goal.
Well,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was that study where they had a control group that practiced the piano on a piano,
Oh, cool.
and they had another group that practiced the piano in their mind.
Oh.
And they found that both of them learned the piano.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Which makes sense because if you look at Buddhism, the Yogacara school of Buddhism, the mind-only school, they believe that there is no physical reality. It's all mind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the act of visualizing, I think, is a really powerful tool.
Yes.
And we're using visualization and we're using anchoring together.
Yes. Yeah. And somatic self. We're using
somatic
felt
experience.
sense.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Because
so
we've
good.
got a place in our body.
Yeah.
Giving it a location, a
Warmth.
color,
Yeah.
warmth, a
Still.
feeling.
Yeah.
And then we got some movement associated
Yeah.
with it. All that stuff we tether to an ideal or optimal state.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. I love your teaching on anchoring.
Dude.
I can't wait to learn more from you.
Awesome. Oh my God. Okay, we'll play a game.
Okay, great.
We'll play. Oh, let's do it. Let's do tarot cards before you tell us a little bit more about your life story.
Oh, good.
But play a little game beforehand.
Okay. Let's play a game.
Improv game.
Okay.
Sound ball. I invite 3 of them. I tend to offer sound ball, mirror cat, or 1, 2, 3.
You pick. I'm happy with
Let's do sound ball. I think that's fun. I think sound ball invites a lot of silliness.
Okay, great.
People like. Improv is about yes and.
Okay.
And these are warm-up games.
Great.
So they invite rapport, relating, but also participation, engagement, and getting out of kind of the normal.
Okay.
I go to the bank, I get groceries. It's
Okay. I
silliness.
do an interview.
I do interviews. People will think I'm smart. I use words. Yeah. Into the start of this game, I've got the focus of it. I'm going to pass the focus to you by making up a sound and making up a gesture. They go together.
Okay.
You say yes.
Okay, yes.
You receive those. You don't literally say yes. The way you say yes, yes. The way you say yes is by mirroring the sound and the gesture with your body.
Okay.
And then you say and. Improv is all about yes and.
Yeah.
Life, I think, is all about yes and.
Right on.
About
Relationships is about yes and.
Yeah.
Yes.
Accepting the present moment, saying yes to it, and then adding something to it.
Okay, cool.
Adding, like contributing.
Okay.
But first is like acceptance, like loving what is.
Okay.
Saying yes to it. And you can say yes with a no.
Yes.
That's a whole nother area.
Right on.
And there's 2 ways to approach it is through exploration and heightening, which I think is also part of life.
Cool.
And we'll explore those as we play this game.
Okay, great.
So I send you a sound. You say yes by repeating the sound.
Okay.
And the gesture. You say and by coming up with your own sound and gesture and passing it back to me.
Okay.
And then we go back and forth.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay.
So. Woo, 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 woo.
Woo, 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 woo. Oh, and I and. Okay.
Boing, oing, 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 oing.
Boing, oing, 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 oing. Ah.
Boing.
Bang.
Ooh. Hoo-yah!
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay. I noticed the ones that you send were very calming. You did you did the and you did and there was like a real and it's an opportunity to notice there's a quality to sound and there's a quality to gesture.
Sure.
Sometimes it can be like when I did hoo-yah, like I'd had a
Yeah.
kind of an energy to even the body motion, the jerkiness, but also like
Cool.
energetic power to what I was sending.
Nice.
So there's like, just think about that and then think about you can either heighten one, like let's do one gesture and heighten or lessen it. We'll do one, let's do one back and forth 3-4 times and heighten it and make it smaller.
Okay, introducing dynamics on purpose.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you create it and then after you create it, tell me if you want it to go up or down.
Well, let's just go up for a little bit.
Okay.
It's easier to because I was just feeling things in my body and then expressing them.
Okay.
So we can go up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you want me to create the first one? Okay. Okay. Zip.
Zip. And then I'll heighten that one.
Do it.
Zip.
Okay. Zip.
And now you heighten that one.
Okay. Zip.
Zip. Zip.
Zip. Zing.
And now think if you can have the same excitement, the same intensity, but a lower heightened. Like as intense, kind of like you would if you were playing a musical piece.
Okay.
If the volume and tempo is low and slow, you still want the intensity and the excitement.
Okay.
Yeah. Think about that.
Okay. Okay. Oh, am I supposed to send?
Same one, still the zip.
Okay. And are we heightening, lowering?
Let's play with some lower ones.
Okay.
Chill
Okay.
ones.
Okay. So you just did that one.
Mm-hmm.
That zip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Zip.
Zip. Zzz.
Zzz.
Now let's play with exploration.
Okay.
So we have heightening, which is kind of the dynamic up or down, like how intense and exciting it is. Now let's play around it.
Okay.
So the endowment or the idea is zip.
Okay.
So I'm going to explore around that. I'll come up with the first one.
Okay.
Zzz.
Okay. I don't really know what you mean, but I'm just going to make
Exploration.
Okay.
What does zzz mean to you?
Okay.
It could be a zipper. Right there for me, it was a bee.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not a bee anymore. You're
Okay.
exploring zzz.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Zzz could be all kind of stuff.
Okay.
Let me think.
Ah. Ah.
So now let's play with both.
Mm.
We're doing streaming. We're kind of flowing from whatever the last one was. It might not totally make sense. The bee made a lot of sense. I tried to do a bird, and I thought of a bird flies like a bee flies. You did ah. How did that make sense to you from the previous one?
It was a letter between A and B. I mean, between Z and B.
It was a letter between.
Because we were doing Z, and then
I did.
Then yeah, and then has to do with a bee, and then there was a bird thing.
So it all makes sense to you.
Yeah.
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 So let's do that and play with heightening and exploration.
Okay.
So the last one you did was and so I'll go.
Zoom.
Zoom.
Hmm. Bing, 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 bing.
Bing, 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 bing. What was that?
I don't know.
Okay. 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 What does it mean to me? Yeah. What does it mean to me? Let's see.
Hmm. Hmm.
The thing I think about with this game, oh yeah, pat yourself on your back. You played sound ball. The game I thought maybe we'll try a couple times, it's called Mind Meld,
Okay.
also called Convergence. I've
Okay.
never played this with someone on the show, but I think we can try it.
Okay.
The idea is that we will converge or have a mind meld. We'll get to the same word.
Okay.
And this is an exercise of kind of moving towards each other or finding what's common, what's normal between us and finding
Okay.
some commonality or something.
Okay.
We'll say this a word
Okay.
at the count of 3, and then we'll use those 2 words to influence the next word we both say.
Okay.
This might work and it might not. We're going to try
Okay.
it for a little bit and see
Okay,
what happens.
cool.
Okay. So we count to 1, 2, 3 together,
Okay.
and then we say a word.
Okay.
Don't think of the word now.
Okay. Okay.
Blank mind.
Okay.
But for the second word, you'll think of the previous words we both said and let that influence the next word.
Okay.
So
1, 2, 3. Apple.
What? No way.
You
said apple?
what?
I said apple.
Yeah. It's good rapport.
We got a mind meld. We got a mind meld. We got a mind meld. That's what we sing in improv. That is crazy.
So have you ever
Did
played?
you see my mouth or something? How did you say apple?
You told me to make I actually thought of cat first, and then you
I
told me
thought
to
of
make
car first.
You told me to make my mind blank.
Yeah.
And then make it. And
How
then
did you say apple? I said apple.
I don't know.
Okay, we're moving on to the tarot cards. That's like we just won.
Have you ever played the game The Mind?
No.
It's a collaborative game. The cards are 1 to 100. Your first round, you're each dealt 1, and you have to, without talking about the numbers on the cards, play them in chronological order. So if you have a 3 and I have a 50,
Yeah.
you would play your
the
3 pretty
first.
quick.
Yeah.
Because it's probably the lowest, and then I would play the 50. So the next round, we each get 2. And we have to play our cards. We don't get one turn at a time. We have to play them in the sequential order, in chronological order. So we have to learn how to read each other in the context of the game. It's so fun.
We play an improv game that I think of an improv game that we play called 21.
Oh, cool.
You have a circle of people.
Yeah.
Any amount of number of people. I've played this with 5 people. I've played this with 20. I've played it with 30.
Oh, wow.
You count to 21.
Okay.
But at any point when 2 people say the same number at the same time, you go back to 1.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
So it's an exercise of like awareness. Who's going to say something?
Peripheral vision.
How do you know when, just kind of like you feel it?
Yeah.
And people get strategies. Like one person in the group will always say it really fast after the last one, or someone will you don't communicate. You don't tell people I'm about to say it.
Yes.
But you feel,
yeah,
the room.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun.
It's really fun. 21. Okay. I think you should shovel them. You're telling us your life story or getting into that. So you should pick the cards.
Oh, okay. Okay. What, I'm picking more than one card?
How many do you want to do? How many do you want to pick?
Oh, so next we're going to talk about my life story.
Yeah. That face said like, what was that? Like you couldn't believe it, or fear, or
Or just like,
disbelief. Do we have the time for that?
once upon a time, it
Once
was
upon a time,
storming in
you talked
Oklahoma
about some of
City.
it at the beginning, like how you would sit in the back of the
Yes,
like
yes,
classes.
yes.
What'd you get?
Two of swords.
Ooh, swords. You know what
Ooh,
swords are? That's like the intellect.
cool. And look, the crescent moon's on there and the ocean.
Oh yeah, and look, it's like she's blind.
Mm,
She's got she's blinded.
yeah.
And then there's the ocean, crescent moon. She's got two swords. Two often means like a pair, a
Mm,
couple.
mm, mm.
So some,
Hmm.
let's see, what do you see there? Other things do you see?
Well, being with your back to the ocean is interesting. You know, they say never turn your back to the ocean
Really, why?
because it's mutable, it's changeable
Ooh, so it could come and just scoop you up.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the crescent moon. I'm always tracking on the moon. Yeah. Oh, and you know the crossed arms,
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the somatic soothing ways.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not so much the swords, but like
It's
to
like a
really calm.
bilateral
Yeah.
stimulation type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the element of air. Swords are air. I'll tell you like a little bit about the that
Okay.
suit. Um, it's a cutting weapon is the intellect. It symbolizes rational thinking, logic, analysis, communication, and the power of the mind.
Cool.
It's very, very different than the cups,
Heart.
the
Yeah.
Queen of Cups,
Yeah.
which you got. It's almost and yeah. Let's see. Two from a numerology perspective is like partnership, union, balance, or imbalance.
Okay.
So the two of swords is, let's see here. Combined resources, courage, faith, friendship, conflict, and balance. Those are the key words to the
Okay.
two of swords.
Cool.
And it's the blind faith card.
Mm.
Blind faith. She's blinded
Cool.
there. It can represent courage and making decisions based on your own truth.
Mm.
And in some cases, spiritual guidance.
Mm.
Symbolizes balancing the right and the left hemispheres of your brain, combining intuition and intellect. It means that you might have a decision right now that demands both of these things,
Mm.
intellect and the intuition.
Mm.
It could advise you to take off your blindfold and look at a situation honestly.
Mm.
You know.
Mm. I love that image of the brain and the heart, and it's like an instrument. There's strings, and the person's plucking.
Playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I
That
could
comes
think
to
of
mind.
intuition as the heart.
Yeah. Nice.
You know?
Nice. Yeah.
What is intuition? It's some inner knowing.
Yeah. I mean, people experience it different ways. Some people experience visions of what they need to do or want to do or what might come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Or I often experience a tug. I'll get a vision of something and I'll get a pull toward it, and that tells me to go toward it. Yeah. And it's interesting too. So my mom passed just over a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a really sacred experience to be with her during that. My brother is 4 years younger than me to the day, and we were born on the same day, 4 years apart.
Wow, no way.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
He's amazing. And he said that he was the best birthday present I ever got.
Oh, what? Your brother, yeah, he's pretty good.
He's awesome.
That's pretty good.
And also, I saw him. I mean, my mom was going through some physical body suffering the last few weeks of her life. And there was only so much we could do to ease it in the circumstance. And it reminded me that death is something we each have to come to on our own. Even if we're with loved ones, we have to cope with it and deal with the process of dying. Ultimately, it's our own experience. And my brother was enlightened. He could take in her suffering and return love. And witnessing that was one of the most profound experiences of my life, because he did it over and over with her. And it was really beautiful to see. And my mom had faith that everything was okay. She wasn't afraid of dying. She knew she was going to die, and probably sped her death along because she was ready. And she had that kind of faith of just knowing it's going to be okay.
The blind faith.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's not like she had an experience of death in this life before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, she
It's that
just had
being
to
with
go-
uncertainty we
Yeah.
talked about earlier.
Yeah, and through a time of great suffering, you know, lots of ups and downs, and so it was amazing to see her. It was amazing to see my brother, and what he is capable of, and just in that very pragmatic way. And you know, he read The Alchemist to her, and it's his favorite book. And she had me do a meditation with her called Easy Death, was imagining dying and your relatives escorting you over and going toward the light. And she had me do that over and over with her. And
To
maybe,
prepare you for that loss.
maybe it was for me. Yeah. I mean, I think she already was at peace.
She's still your
So-
mom.
Yeah. Yeah. So she wanted me to know I did something good for her. So, yeah. So that's important to my life story, because my mom is certainly important. She was just this amazing force of unconditional love and joy. And she made a lot of choices in her life to figure out how to work with her mental illness and her trauma so that she could have more joy and love and express that. And, you know, my brother has been there all along, and he's just such a rock and so smart and loving and cool. And my whole family is. My dad's amazing mind. And, you know, when I was contemplating moving back to Texas, he did this super loving thing. He compiled statistics about different places to live in Texas and how it would be better for me to be here. And he sent me the statistics list. To me, it was him saying, I really love you and want you to come back to Texas.
Aww.
In his way.
Yeah.
And
He's got an analytical mind.
yeah. And my stepmom is just always encouraging, and no matter what challenge I'm facing, she believes I can handle it.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's amazing to have that kind of family. And I think really the thread in my life is about relationships and those family, but also chosen family and friends and colleagues who give me so much, who are present with me, who are generous with their heart, and who can help me laugh at myself.
Mhm.
So, yeah, one of the most recent experiences that happened that I think is kind of emblematic of my life story is I was visiting my brother in his rural Illinois town. This is a town of 14,000 people, and it is 91% of the people who live there today lived there last year, and 91% of the people who live there today will live there next year. So Austin is like, I don't know, 60% or something. This
People
is a
come and
place.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a place people don't come and go. They stay their whole lives.
Yeah.
And generations. And the main bar in town is a half block from the railroad, and it was built in 1898 by Pabst Blue Ribbon. And it's like the classic bar you would see in a movie.
Yeah.
All dark wood, mirror in the
Yeah.
back, little tiles on the floor, bar stools, and booths.
Yeah.
So I walk in at lunch, Tuesday on 11:30. All the booths are full. I sit at the bar, order, eat, work a little. And this man comes up to me. He's in his 60s or 70s, floppy hat, big coat. And I look over and I can see 5 empties at the chair he came from. He's got some slurred speech. So he starts to chat me up and ask. In this town, people always ask, like, who do you know? Because they want to find a common connection. So he asked that. We're chatting. And then he says, like, the worst possible political, social stuff to me that a person could possibly say, like just the roughest stuff. I won't even say it. And I was totally taken aback. And I said, I have strong feelings about this issue. Would you like to hear them?
Yeah.
By the way, everyone says no. Everyone says, no, I don't want to hear them.
Yeah.
Except this guy. This guy goes, I have an open mind. And he peels back.
He did really have an open mind?
Yes. So I told him what I thought.
Look out.
And he kind of received it, but he had been drinking. And what happened after that was interesting. And I don't know why it happened, honestly. But he started telling me, after I was like, okay, I need to stop talking about this. He started telling me about his service in the military and his PTSD and his trauma. And it was real. And I listened and believed him. And then this is what I said. So I swear I was trying to engage him at a higher level, at a deeper level. But what came out of my mouth in that improving moment was, I don't think you came over here to talk about politics. I think you came over here because you can tell that I have an adventurous heart, and deep inside you have an adventurous heart too. And as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, okay, that was a lot. That was a lot.
Yeah.
And I had to kind of backpedal to get him to not give me his phone number. And but it came from a place of wanting to connect at a higher level, at a human level.
Right.
And I came back, told my brother about it. He was like, oh, so you talked to Dean. He knew exactly who it was in his town. And he started teasing me mercilessly about my adventurous heart.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that I can laugh at myself for misspeaking or going too deep. But also I do think I have an adventurous heart. I do love people as they are, and want to discover who they are in the moment.
And in that moment, you endowed him with that same characteristic.
Yeah.
Even though what that would communicate to a dude 5 years in would be, you're down with a casual encounter.
Yes. The first thing my brother said was, oh my God, did you sleep with Dean? I was like, no, I didn't. It was an accident.
That's what that was. The underlying message there was, yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's fascinating though. There's many fascinating things but I do think that story tells some of my life story adequately, in that I make mistakes. I communicate the wrong thing all the time. And
you communicated the right thing.
Yes, right. Well, from here I did, but the way it was received.
The message received is the message.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the message he probably got was not the one you were sending.
What was funny is when I finally got the point across that no, I did not want his phone number, and he left, the bartender and another person in the bar bought my lunch. They said, nobody has talked to Dean like a person since 2009.
Oh.
So they got it.
They got it.
So, yeah.
Where'd you learn how to tell stories? Who'd you get that from?
Oh, well, mostly from Tom Bess, my teacher, but
taught through storytelling?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think good NLP teaches through storytelling. I introduce every single topic with a story. So, but also my mom and my granddad were super good storytellers.
Yeah.
And there's people in my extended family who have this kind of like, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. So they would modify things, and over time I realized, oh, they're intentionally changing the end of the story to make a different point. So I try to stay closer to the facts than them. But yeah, it's just a tradition in my extended family.
Yeah, I think storytelling is a wonderful way to get points across.
Yeah.
There's this book called The Master and His Emissary
Okay.
by Ian McGilchrist, I think. He talks about the left brain and the right brain.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes.
Heard of this?
Yes.
Really good.
I have this book, actually.
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
And one part of it, he talks about logos and mythos, logic and myth. And he talks about how, myth, poetry, storytelling, songs, art bypasses this part.
Yes.
I think it's very NLP to realize that, and to bypass your judgment and your reason and all this stuff that's like looking for hit people in their heart. They understand it's true in their body.
Yeah.
And so I think storytelling is a powerful tool.
Yeah. And I think like, to me, the right side is about, it's holistic. It encompasses all. So there used to be a way of thinking about hypnosis, that it was a way to get around the logical mind, or trick it.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. And so I think it's something different. I think hypnosis encompasses the conscious and the non-conscious, or like creates a bridge between them so that they can work in harmony. And I've the same thing with the right and left, basically the same pattern. To me, is that we're looking to encompass both, or to bridge between the two. And yeah, I think right side stuff is real interesting. So I can take an anxious thought I'm having and sing it, and it will fundamentally change how I feel about the thought.
Yeah.
So all that stuff is super fun. Peripheral vision is a hack, a body hack that helps you go into the right side a little bit better.
Peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Like just focus on things that are further out.
Yeah. You did it with your eyes just then. Great job. Yeah. So you soften your eyes and then see the left and the right.
Yeah.
Great job.
You're expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and peripheral vision is processed neurologically differently than focused vision.
Really?
Yeah.
And when we're in a heightened state, when we're in a fear state, our vision narrows.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, tunnel vision.
It's a description.
Yeah.
So we become more in the thinking mind and less in the like full body responsiveness or feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When did your folks got divorced?
Oh, yeah.
How old were you?
I was 11. My brother was 7. Yeah. And
was it challenging?
Yeah.
How did it impact you?
Oh, well, I mean, the first thought I had was a very little kid thought, which was, I think this means I don't have to empty the dishwasher anymore, which sounds great. Like, I'm not sure how, but I recall thinking that. Yeah, I mean, so my parents were still very loving. They never fought in front of us, never even disagreed.
They never argued in front of you.
Yes, or did the thing
behind closed doors.
Yeah. So the good things about that are we weren't worried about them or like what they were doing to each other or us. And the other good thing, I'm a great packer. We did week on, week off, so I can like pack completely. Yeah. I'm really good at that. And my brother and I became the stable thing in each other's lives.
Because y'all paired.
Yeah.
Because y'all were moving.
We were always together.
Y'all had the same experience going from house to house. So that bonded you. You had a deep bond.
Yeah.
Because you were both navigating these probably strong events.
Yeah. So it was challenging and challenging about like, who am I as a kid kind of questions.
Did you have to choose which parent to live with?
No.
Okay.
No. They lived within a few miles of each other, and we very peacefully went back and forth between the houses every week.
Where was this at?
In North Texas. Yeah, in North Texas. So there's a small suburb of Fort Worth called Keller. Now it's like giant and has 4 Starbucks, but it was a little farming town that was just turning into suburbia.
What was it like to grow up there?
It was exactly like King of the Hill.
Oh, really?
Which I saw recently and was just like, Oh my God. It really was
So
like that.
farmers, ranchers.
Yes, but also this growing affluence as well, bumping up against that. So, business was starting to happen there, and yeah, it was wild.
How
And
did you
all those
identify
accents.
yourself? What were you as a kiddo?
I was nothing. I was in the background. So I was dissociated and outside my body most of the time when I was a child.
Really?
Yeah.
Dissociated and outside of your
I
body?
wouldn't recommend it, but it's yeah.
Do you have any story that you tell yourself about that?
Well, I had a scary thing happen to me. I mentioned it before when I was 5.
Yeah.
And I like went outside of my body and like saw the event at the time from up in a tree. And it was like a protective measure. So that's how I lived for years.
Do you feel comfortable talking about what happened to you?
I probably wouldn't do that right now.
Okay.
Only because I wouldn't want to re-trauma. I wouldn't want to bring trauma to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but it was something that was difficult, really difficult.
Yeah.
And it impacted you for years and years after that.
Yeah.
You were really young.
Yeah. I was 5 when it happened, and so people thought I was really shy. I was dissociated. I was not in my body.
So after the
Yeah.
event, it changed the way you interacted with the world.
Yeah.
Did your folks realize that, or did anybody notice?
I don't think so. There was a lot going on for them. Otherwise,
Parenting is hard,
So-
and kids are weird in general.
yes, kids are so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, when I was in my I don't know, 11, 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there, I started coming back in my body more.
You did.
Not all the time, but I could do it more. And I was more social when I did that. I think I'm naturally a more social person, but when I was removed, I was an observer a lot of the time. So, yeah, when I was,
What's that like? You were an observer of your experience.
yeah.
That had to have been interesting.
So, like the meditations about being the witness,
Mm-hmm.
that's really easy for me. It's challenging for people. It's not hard for me because I lived there
Yeah,
forever.
You would see your whole experience.
Yes.
Was that a protective measure?
Yes. People do this kids do this eventually naturally. It's something we all do sometimes.
Dissociate.
Yeah, but when something really scary happens, then you'll pop out like that.
And
Yeah.
you just stayed out.
I stayed out. I mean, I didn't think through that. What happened.
Yeah, it happened.
Yeah. So as I started to come back in my body, I was more social, and I was always an organizer. So when I was 6, I played piano, and I told my mom I wanted to have a recital, and I wrote up a flyer, and we went to Randall's and made copies on red paper, and I took the flyers to all the neighbors as soon as they came home from work and invited them. And we had sherbet and Sprite in little crystal cups, and I organized this event when I was 6. So
you were a pianist.
I was a pianist, but it was really about the gathering. I was interested in creating a gathering point, and all I knew was like, okay, if you're a kid and you play piano, people have to come to your recital.
So really, you were an organizer.
Yes.
You identified with organization.
Yeah.
Bringing people together.
Yeah.
For social things.
Yeah. Exactly.
What are other examples of that?
So when I became a teenager, I went into I got scooped up into a church that had like a really active, loving youth minister. That was all about service. And so I started organizing these huge groups of kids, of teenagers, to mow like all the lawns in Keller.
Wow.
And to do these giant service projects. So at the time, I didn't think, that's kind of weird. Like, I don't think most teenagers are doing that.
Yeah.
But that's what I was doing. So, yeah. So that, and it's funny, I found a few months after I moved to Austin, I made a brochure for a salon where everybody could bring a creative thing that they made. And I found that brochure in my mom's stuff, like a month ago when I was with my brother.
Wow.
So yeah, you can see like, I turned 20, a few months later, I'm like passing these out at school at UT.
You went to school? You went to UT?
Yeah.
What'd you study?
Oh, liberal arts and women's studies.
Women's studies, liberal arts.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the night sky. I love everything about astronomy. And I totally failed astronomy, like an F. Yeah. I didn't do well.
You didn't do well.
I had come from a small town and I didn't understand the big classes. So I figured it out eventually. But yeah. That I organized those. And then my friends, Mike Bound and Tom Carroll, that I mentioned earlier about modeling, they created this thing in Austin called the Acorn Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
It was a monthly meeting, and there was a speaker on the heart, the hands, and the head. So there were 3 speakers, and it was at this Saigon Kitchen in South Austin. You'd pay a flat amount, they'd feed you whatever, and you get these 3 programs. This is incredible. And
Really
I'm in
cool.
touch with many of the people from these circles still to this day.
Yeah.
And they got tired of doing that at some point. And that's when I started the Austin NLP meetup, because I wanted that continued community. I started it for myself because I want to be a part of that ongoing community. So, So when I started taking classes with Tom and Bobby, I took the NLP practitioner class, loved it. And then the next class I assisted, and I brought 5 of my friends because I had started the meetup, and you know, I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. Then the next year I assisted again, and I brought 10 friends. And Tom and Bobby were like, oh, this is like the hardest part of our job. Is
customer acquisition.
It's like bringing people
in. Yeah.
And I did it through community.
Heck yeah, community organizing, because you were an organizer.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I think that's my style, and I've had several people want to copy that, and I don't think it's for everyone. I think it's my personality and my strengths it works for. I don't think it's an awesome business plan to make the most money or anything.
Yeah.
It's just what works for me because it serves my interests of community and participating in it.
Being a part of something.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end. This time has flown by.
Yeah. Thank you for this. This is great.
I have a question. Do you currently have a well-formed outcome that you're working on?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a goal that you want to see?
Oh,
A personal one.
Oh, a personal one?
Or do you have a bunch of them?
I have a bunch of them. Yeah.
What's one of them?
Yeah. Well, I moved to a new place. It's 11 minutes from the trail, the part of the hike and bike trail that I love.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what I do is I go at least every day or 2. Sometimes I go twice a day.
Yeah.
So that's something in my mind that that's more of a, what do you call that? Process goal, not an end goal.
Yeah. What is it leading to?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Just, wherever it takes me.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like a personal goal, a professional goal is I'm running the NLP practitioner certification training again. So that's coming. And I want to see that do well with a group that's supportive of each other and loving and smart and, you know, wants to apply it in whatever, you know, a variety of ways. I like diversity in my groups.
And that's an in-person group.
Oh, yeah. It's an in-person class.
In Austin. We're in Austin, Texas. So if you're in Austin, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
She'd be someone, Katie Raver would be someone to reach out to if you're interested in.
Yeah.
How long, tell me about the course. How long is it?
Oh, okay. Well,
some info about
usually
it?
people start by taking one of the beginner classes. One is the NLP starter class. It's a weekend, 2 days, 10 to 5:30 with a big lunch in the middle. So it's an easy weekend. It's not like meant to be intense or to wear you down. It's meant to be learning. That's all about mindset, the mindset tools of NLP.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is Design Your Powerful Life. And it takes people through the process of developing a goal that you are intuitively related to, that is naturally compelling and inspiring to you, so that it draws you toward the future.
Yeah, those both sound wonderful.
They are. They're great.
Are they steps towards these practitioner certifications if they were interested in that?
That's they're the first 2 modules of 7 for my practitioner certification. People set up their their certifications differently. Mine has 7 modules. They're taken one weekend every 3 or 4 weeks. So I let people come into the NLP starter and Design Your Powerful Life. They can just drop into one or both. And then if they want to do modules 3 through 7, that's for people who are going to stay and do the whole bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like that.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It is. I love it. Yeah, and people come around, stick around, take it again, assist it, do the advanced track, all of it. So yeah.
Is there anything you feel you'd like to say as we're kind of getting towards wrapping up? Anything that's been unsaid that you'd like to say?
Yeah. Well, the modeling bit we did, when you listen back, I just ask that you listen back with an ear toward confidentiality for your family members and just take out, I mean, you can leave the structure of everything, especially your experience in there. But if you just know, if you need to take anything out that's too personal about them, then do it,
Okay. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't think about that. I think about authenticity, transparency, and honesty.
Yeah.
And there also is another piece of respecting someone else's experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on.
I wonder how I would do that.
Yeah. With that lens, you'll know what to do if there is anything. Yeah. Yeah. What else? This is super fun.
Yeah. You enjoyed it?
Of course.
That's good.
Yeah. We had tarot cards. We had improv.
Yeah.
Got to do some modeling of you and your awesome abilities.
I'd like to use this with my guests. Maybe try this with a guest or two in the future.
Yeah.
Like use a NLP modeling kind of program.
Yes.
2 or 3 guests, and then maybe
do it.
See how it would feel.
Yes.
Do you have an example of that I could use, like a source book?
Yes, we can talk about it more.
Okay.
And one thing we could do is we could do a couple of collaborative modeling sessions. So that you could also get a feel for when they're very different, because sometimes they go different directions.
Yeah. So that I would know how to bob and weave.
That'd be a blast
with the person.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
That's how I learned with Mike, is that we started, I observed him and then we started modeling together, and it was so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah.
So yeah. Cool. Okay.
Well, this has been Phil Phails. Phil Phails at Rebounding. Phil Phails at being a fool, being the world. Phil Phails at so many things.
Yeah.
We've been here with Katie Raver. She's an NLP master trainer, right?
Yeah.
What else did we say? She's also an adventurous heart, which you heard from her stories in the Pabst Blue Ribbon Bar, and a student of Tom Best.
Yeah.
And this has been wonderful.
Yeah,
I really
thank you,
enjoyed
Phil.
this time together.
Me too. Thanks.
You can wave bye. Are you a hugger?
Bye for now. Sure.
Hug? Yeah, I'll take a hug. Heck yeah, you just move this thing aside here. That guy?
Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Phil.
Lots
Take
of
care. Yeah.